Jim Hungerford, and I'm on the far right. And down below me is Daryl Fritz, and then, of course, Charlie Reimer. And I was so impressed with Charlie when I started taking this course. He had on nice Oxford shoes and a pair of pants, and we went to some little stream here. He just waded in the center of it, fully dressed, and started talking about diatoms. It was very inspirational. He is an inspirational man. So where I'm working in this project, it's the home of the Hochunk Native American nation. All around Madison, these were the mound builders, and there are literally hundreds of effigy mounds of various animals, bears and large birds, and then there are burial mounds in addition. And these burial mounds are on a large hill. I'll show you a picture here in the middle of Pheasant Branch Conservancy. And it's one of my favorite places for peace of mind. If I need isolation, if I need to get away, I go up to this tall grass prairie and sit in the middle of the tall grass prairie and just listen to the grasses as wind is coming through them. So it's very inspirational for me. It's where I love to be. So I decided to do some projects there as well. So this is the top of the hill in Pheasant Branch Prairie, and there are several burial mounds up there. The most ancient ones were multiple individuals in one burial mound. They've been protected. They are covered periodically with old rugs to kill all the vegetation so you can still see the mounds. Later, they became single burial mounds on top of the hill for the Hochunk peoples. Now, the top picture is from the top of the hill where the burial mounds are, looking down at a stream that is generated by these bubbling springs. And that stream flows into Lake Mendota, ultimately, and then through the city of Madison. So sometimes these bubble when I hit the next slide, and sometimes they just sit there. But these are bubbling all over in this basin, throwing sand around, and you can see some of them that bubble more slowly and in the back have rings of diatoms primarily around them. Even the ones that are rapidly boiling in the center have diatoms attached to sand grains. They keep moving. So two different communities here, and I haven't totally explored all of the options here for collections. I do a piece at a time, and I'm distracted by so many other things in Madison. You know how many microbrew pubs we have in Madison? It's incredible. So this isn't a particularly rich flora. I'll show you a few of the diatoms that are there, but I hope to enhance this presentation with some quotes from Star Wars that Jeff and I tried this when we were teaching at University of South Bohemia, and I don't know if they ever showed Star Wars there. We got a lot of blank looks. Like, get these guys back on the boat and out of here. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, these are not the underpants you are looking for. You remember Obi was trying to save C-3PO, and when they were going to pick up the robots. So one of the very common species is, I wonder if we can get this longer or move that back, or come on, David.
Got some technology here.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah. Meridion circulare. This is a really interesting population. Most of the, can you hear me talking like this?
No.
Bummer. Most of the cells are acostate. Very, very few costae. Some of them have no costae, and some of them have a few. They have the labiate process for the apex up here on all of the cells. So I think it truly is circulare. But a really interesting population. It is the dominant in this habitat. It it exceeds the reported size range in Dona. It's longer than that reported size range and broader as well. Interesting population. Planethidium lanceolatum, very common in the springs, probably fairly common everywhere. I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your underpants. Solifera sargersii is fairly common in the springs. Helamphora veneta, I think. Where's Josh? Well, oh, it's got an iffy, huh? I'm gonna have to have you look at some of these. Here's another Helamphora, Normanii. Josh. Sure. Thanks for not embarrassing me. I cannot teach him. The boy has no underpants. Yoda, one of my favorites. Starocyrella pinnata, fairly common in the springs. A Gomphanema that I don't have a name for yet. Got to work with Pat on this one. I showed him and he said, I don't know. And Java doesn't have time for smugglers who drop their underpants at the first sign of an imperial cruiser. Fragillaria Boucheria, fairly common in the springs. This is Copineus placentula in the sensu lato. I mean, this thing clearly would key out as lineata, but they do run together, one to the other. And this is the way this is treated in the diatoms of North America, as they're treating Cochineus placentula in the broad sense. Another Cochineus, pseudothenensis, is not common in the springs, but it appears periodically. There are a few more pennates. Reticula and Gogorivia are both there, not extremely common. I mean, everything is swamped by Meridion circulare in this community. There are a few species of Nipsia. This is Hermenuta, I think. And finally, that blast came from those underpants. That thing's operational. So that's all I have.
We have time for a couple questions. 4 minutes.
You don't need to bring it. Do you find any cyanobacteria in those springs?
So yeah, pretty much ignore them. you need to come. You're going there Sunday, so we could do some collecting. Yeah.
What's the conductivity in that water?
It's very high. I don't know what it is, but the surface waters around Madison are so calcium rich. You know, I have to run vinegar through my coffee maker every other week to get water through it to make coffee. So I haven't measured it, but very high calcium waters.
Rex, do you ever see that Meridion making internal valves in that spring?
I have not.
Not.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you know about that?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. What it's sort of like it's like a permanent habitat that never would. The flow of waters provides a sort of a block to all the seasonality that's always.
Yeah, maybe, you know,
never getting drying, never getting ice, never getting.
No, it's constantly flowing, and it has been for thousands of years at a high rate. And it's a one-way passage toward Lake Mendota. There are no other tributaries coming into it, so it's truly isolated. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Did you see any teratologies in those samples?
I have not. No.
I looked at Boiling Springs in Arkansas last time I visited my family. Lots of niches, tons of teratologies.
Really? In what genre?
Nichia
Okay.
specifically.
Interesting. Nope,
Uh,
didn't see any.
all right.
Rex, what's
Catherine.
favorite diatom?
What?
Your favorite diatom?
Your favorite diatom.
My favorite diatom?
Yes.
No, I have actually a lot, but it's this, and it's a recent favorite. It's Acanthes felinophylla. It's a new Acanthes we described from Hawaii, and I collected it at this place with a dripping cliff where people are feeding feral cats. So there's all kinds of cat dishes below the cliff, and I had to wade through cats to scrape the flora off this drippy wall. And if you haven't seen it, Acanthes felinophylla is beautiful. The interior ribs on that diatom have spiral thickenings coming down them. So have a look at it on, I think it's on Doma, I hope.
Yeah, it is.
But it is a beautiful taxon, and that's my favorite, which, may switch as I see more things, but currently I love it.